How was the naming process? Was it difficult or was it easy? Are you satisfied with the name?
So satisfied with the name.
Yeah.
This can almost serve as a Trojan horse. Crypto mobile experiences don't have to suck. For Seeker and for Saga, we know that it is the most secure crypto mobile experience on any device. It's got the best security, the best user experience, and a store that is full of one-of-a-kind dApps. No, it's been good. It's been really, really good. How's your day been? Busy?
Hectic.
Yeah.
Talking to a lot of really smart people about things that they've been thinking about non-stop. So it's, context switching is hard enough already, but then you got to go from, expert to expert. And it's like, I'm shocked.
Yeah,
I'm brain dead.
that is very different than the experience I've been having, which is like when you say
laser focus.
When you say one word enough times, where you're like, that can't be a real word anymore.
Yeah.
All I've been doing is talking about mobile.
Seeker or mobile?
All day for weeks.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, that doesn't make sense.
Did I just say that?
Those aren't real words. Seeker? That doesn't sound right. But that's, it's fun. It's great. It's like today has been like the most fun day in months. Not to say we haven't been having fun.
Rewarding.
But yeah, just like getting to actually talk to people who have pre-ordered this thing, teams who are building for it.
I pre-ordered.
There you go. It's just so cool. Like there's no, in the lead up to something like this, you stress yourself out. You're like, oh my God, what if it doesn't land right? What if people don't get it? What if people don't like it? And so we had folks like MKBHD reviewing it as a normal phone, which yes, it does things that a normal phone does, but it shouldn't be graded on the same rubric because it's trying to, in addition to do phone stuff, also meet crypto users where they are. So yeah, I think the labeling was hard, the categorization, it being new, and there frankly were things we could have done better. There's always things you can do better when you build a product.
Yeah.
So the fact that we had an opportunity to do another one is just like, it's so exciting.
Yeah, rewarding,
yeah.
relieved.
Yeah,
yeah.
My God, yeah. I mean, we have so much left to do, like a crazy amount of work left to do, but having a hardware partner who could get us from zero to working phone as quickly as we have is awesome. But actually pulling together like a production level supply chain, shipping 140,000 or more is going to take some time. So, and we love Saga. Saga became kind of everywhere, right, on crypto Twitter, and it really stuck well. But given that we've taken a lot of what was there, but also built something new, it's less expensive, it's brighter, it's lighter, it's got better battery, better cameras. Stepping into a new name gives us the opportunity to set a new vision and identity, and also gives us the opportunity to tell the story of why and who buys this in a way that Seeker, I think, has really landed. A lot of the people we've spoken to across the ecosystem totally get it. So it's an exciting opportunity. You don't often get to rebrand yourself.
Exciting. I'm excited to get the phone. I think early next year, mid next year?
Mid next year. Yeah, we'll have more to share on dates so far. Everything is on track, which is more than you can usually say with a hardware project. But before we commit to a firm date, we want to just get a couple more steps along the process, but we'll have more to share next year for sure.
We've sort of just dived in and we've started talking about the phone because like I'm really excited about the phone, and
great.
Obviously you've been focusing on this with tunnel vision over the last however long.
Yeah.
So it's been the topic to talk about also here in Breakpoint. But let's take a few steps back.
Sure.
For anyone that might not be familiar with your work, who you are, where you work, could you introduce yourself with your name, title, project, and what do you do day to day?
Yeah. So I'm Emmett Hollayer. I'm the general manager of Solana Mobile. And day-to-day basis, it's doing everything possible to get the next great mobile Web3 device into the market. So that means working with our really talented engineering and product teams. That means working with the ecosystem to help bring to light what we think should be built. It means working with our marketing teams, our legal teams, basically doing everything we can to make sure that this product is as successful and as broadly available as possible.
Are you satisfied with the number of pre-orders?
Satisfied is a hard word. I'm excited about the number of pre-orders we have. I think it's a really good proof point, right? When we announced that we were going to do something, that we were going to do a chapter 2 of some sort, but didn't say what, we had set a threshold of 100,000 because we saw this crazy momentum through the end of the year. And we wanted to confirm that there was more than noise to that signal. And so we said, if we can get to 100,000, that gives us the confidence we need that there's enough of a market for what we're trying to accomplish here to go forward. And so getting to 140,000 is beyond the original goal that we set out, but inevitably what happens is once you cross whatever goal you reach, you set a new one and you just keep pushing it out. So I don't know that we'll ever be satisfied, but we're certainly excited. And being here at Breakpoint, talking to the thousands of attendees, the percentage of them that have already placed their pre-order is further, it further gives me hope and excitement about the users that we're serving.
Mm-hmm. Talk to me then about your experiences working with the Saga. What was the thought process that went into evaluating the success of the phone, evaluating the parts that should be improved about it, and then deciding that we need to improve this in such a significant way that we can already start talking about it and sort of give a bit of a sneak peek? How and when did you decide that there had to be a chapter 2?
So as we were heading into the end of last year, there were things that we were genuinely excited about from a success perspective. I think when we talked to our users, the users who came with us early, they got it. Like, they knew exactly what the product was for them and what it was trying to do for them. And so there was a lot of reason for hope, but we had launched this in the depths of a bear market, and so it was a little bit scary for a time. We wanted to know that there was more growth out there before we committed to anything. And so as things turned around at the end of the year, and as the ecosystem really started to step up, rewards programs started to spin up, more teams were building apps, and we saw 15,000 phones sell out in a day. We said, that's definitely gives us more hope to do this next thing. And then, like I said, we put up a campaign to get people signed up for this next device, and blew through our goals in a matter of weeks, and then it was go time. And so since basically the beginning of this year, we have just been heads down sprinting. We've been very quiet, but that was all in the lead up to today. So we had the opportunity to share with the world what Chapter 2 is, the fact that Chapter 2 is Seeker, tell everybody more about the phone, but obviously we still have a ton left to do.
Definitely. My understanding is that you weren't necessarily involved in too much of a hands-on way with the manufacturing of the first device, the Saga, but then you decided to increase the amount of food on your plate by exponentially and take on the whole supply chain. Is that the case?
So we haven't necessarily taken on the whole of the supply chain. What I would say is we took kind of a from-scratch approach to the hardware on the second one. So we knew that our kind of secret sauce and what made us unique was the ability to blend hardware and software to build something that was Web3 centric. And we wanted to carry a lot of that over. We carried over Seed Vault, which is something that you have to have access to hardware to build, something that can securely manage customer seeds. You can't just do that via software. But as far as the rest of the hardware is concerned, and building something that we knew had to be lighter and brighter, we did very much take a bottoms-up approach. And we said, what worked last time, what didn't work last time? And if we could wave a magic wand and build the phone that we want to see at the price point we want to see, what would that be? And obviously you can only do that once you've learned from the market. So it took getting Saga out there to learn from everybody for us to be able to wave that magic wand.
What were the major frustration points then that you thought we have to prioritize tackling these if we are to launch a Chapter 2?
Yeah, so from a hardware perspective, I think first and foremost was price and accessibility. A $500 device, which Seeker is priced at, gives us the opportunity to bring it to just more people. And the same is true of markets. So whereas Saga was available in primarily North America and Europe, we're now bringing Seeker to even more markets. So we've pre-sold into 57 countries, and more than half of that order volume actually comes from APAC, where we weren't able to sell phones previously. So I think that was kind of part one. Is it's got to be better price, more markets. And we knew we had to make some improvements to things like screen, quality camera. One piece of feedback we got from a lot of users is they want something a little bit lighter, something that feels a little bit more portable, especially because for some folks, this may not be their primary device. So hardware, we really focused on bringing a premium build, but something that's very on the go, but still has that flagship premium quality.
Interesting. I actually quite liked the weight of the first one. It felt like if I drop it, it's not going to shatter. So so I was very happy with the size and the weight of it. It was no dramas for me, but I know a lot of people were talking about the price. So you said we improved the price.
Yeah.
Where did it go from and where is it now?
So Saga went to market at $1,000.
$1,000.
And Seeker is now on sale for $500, although through the end of Breakpoint, that's down to our founder price of $450. So bringing Seeker to market at what we think is a more efficient price point for our market, it takes a lot of hard work and you have to do the right amount of planning. And we're fortunate to be working with a great hardware partner to try and get that right blend of a really premium product that's priced at the right point, The other thing that works in our favor is we've got 140,000 people signed up for this. And anytime you have the opportunity to capture that degree of scale, that's going to give you access to parts, to supply chain that you wouldn't otherwise have access to. So the fact that we are able to bring Seeker to market at $500, it just means more people can have it.
Clear. So hardware's been improved.
Yeah.
New markets.
Yeah.
Pricing's better. Talk to me about the software.
Sure. So the software is frankly what makes the whole thing go. As we look back at Saga, we had Seed Vault, which, like I mentioned, that secures users' seeds in a totally separate part of the phone, away from apps, away from the Android operating system, so that you have full peace of mind that your seeds are safe. Users love that peace of mind. That security is really something you can only get on our phone. And so as we looked forward to Seeker, we said, that's great. We need to get security right. So let's take Seed Vault again and deliver it, but let's take it one step further. One piece of feedback we got was the transaction signing flow could be more seamless. It could be more easy.
Okay.
It could be more mobile centric. And so as we have started to build Seeker, we're building the Seed Vault wallet. And so the Seed Vault wallet is a mobile first wallet that's built on top of Seed Vault to supercharge your self-custody experience. So as a user, I now have this almost magical transaction signing experience where a double tap of the power button can sign and send a transaction for me. And we're doing other things like simplifying account management so that I don't have that cognitive load of my primary account, my burners, managing a whole bunch. We've really streamlined that. And so the Seed Vault wallet, I think, is going to be a huge step forward for software. In addition to Seed Vault wallet, we still have the Solana dApp store. That's undergone a whole slew of exciting updates. So we've now got rewards tracking built in. So all of the great earning and rewards opportunities, you'll get to monitor those in one place. We'll have support for web dApps, and we'll also have improved discoverability and navigation.
I think the rewards that you touched on there is what gets a lot of people excited. Least of all, given the fact that people made a significant amount of money from airdrops with the first phone. So do you see that as a potential risk? Do you think it's risky? People are sort of going to get it, hope for a token allocation or an airdrop, and then just sort of try and sell the phone afterwards? Or do you have maybe a longer list of improvements and applications that are being built on top of it that are going to keep attention on the phone?
Yeah, so with Seeker, there will be a Seeker Genesis token, and we expect that a lot of the same effects that took place on Saga will take place on Seeker. We already have teams who are thinking about rewards programs and exclusive access targeting Seeker Genesis token holders. So a lot of that motivation and a lot of what excites the community will still be there. But this is almost, this can almost serve as a Trojan horse where people come, maybe they are coming for the rewards, maybe they see that upside as a reason to get in. But we're confident that once people start using the apps available in our store, once they start using Seed Vault Wallet, that they'll see that crypto mobile experiences don't have to suck.
And you mentioned security. I want to very briefly go back to security there. So a two-tap transaction signing seems seamless and smooth, and we all want to save time. Are you then moving sort of in the direction of this Web3 focused phone replacing hardware wallets in some sense, or is it just an added layer of security?
So we think of it as an added layer of security to your mobile experience. I think for users across crypto, everybody has different risk tolerances. So what works for you from a hot and cold wallet perspective may not work for somebody else. What I'll say is for Seeker and for Saga, we know that it is the most secure crypto mobile experience on any device. That doesn't mean it necessarily replaces your hardware wallet depending on your use case, but we can say confidently that it is a much better security profile than just using software wallets alone.
Clear. And I know Toli's spoken a lot about this sort of duopoly of applications, with Android and Apple, and I think most people in Web3 don't like that and want to challenge it and want to be disruptive. So it seems like you guys are moving in that direction. Can you sort of give me a bit of a high-level overview of the dApp scene and how that ties into this hardware wallet and the phone? And maybe do you expect as a result of this, if the Seeker is as successful as you expect it to be, do you expect other Web3 phones to be launched to copy the Seeker?
Yeah, so with Saga, we launched the Solana dApp store, and that's coming to Seeker. So it is 0 fees, so we don't have the 30% Apple and Google take rate, and there are no cryptophobic policies. If you're building something that is blockchain to its heart, you'll be welcome in our store. What we saw with Saga is that that is a huge opportunity for teams. The fact that you can build something that would otherwise not find distribution, that it has a home with our store, and not only does it have a home with our store, but it is a platform that connects you to an audience of potentially the perfect user for your use case, meant that we saw a whole bunch of teams testing their first mobile experiences through Saga. And so right now the store has about 100 dApps, but based on the response we've received so far, I think that catalog will be much, much bigger by the time Seeker comes around, because obviously you're servicing 140,000 users instead of 20,000 users. And what we're hearing from teams more and more is, yes, some teams take the same app that's in the Google Play Store and they submit it to ours, but more and more teams are thinking about delivering apps through our store that can only happen on Seeker. So they are taking advantage of features or economic models that just that would collapse under the 30% tax or under the cryptophobic policies of those stores. And so I think for Seeker specifically, it will have a bigger catalog, it will have a richer catalog, the quality will be even better, but there will also be so many things that you can only get in that store that are exclusive to this phone because it has a broad audience and because it is so friendly towards crypto builders.
What are some of the applications that you expect to be most popular on the Seeker then? Is there anything counterintuitive there that you think, oh, we didn't expect this? You mentioned that 30% fee that the App Store takes is potentially a turning point for many applications. It makes them economically viable. So what are some applications that maybe people don't expect to see that they will on the phone?
In terms of apps that we're excited about, I think dPin is sort of the most obvious use case for a mobile device. You've got your phone with you all the time. There's constant sort of digital exhaust coming off of it. You've got sensor data, GPS, cellular data. There's all this opportunity to take that data and put it to work for you, right? How do you find a way to earn off of that? And so we've spoken to a handful of teams, Helium and a bunch of other ecosystem teams who are building dPin networks. And we have sat down with them and we've said, hey, if you were given whatever information you wanted, what would be most valuable as you grow your networks? And so we're spending a lot of time thinking about how to optimize dPin use cases so that people who have this phone can participate in those networks and find earning opportunities, whether they're sitting at home or on the go. So dPin is definitely the category I'm most excited about. But I think another category that will continue to evolve and has been at the heart of the Solana conversation for the last couple months is token launch platforms. As you look back, anybody now can launch a token, whether that's on a pumped off fund or an equivalent. But that economic model, like I said, would just never work with Google and Apple. You can't possibly launch a token and have it on a bond curve and then have 30% of that wash away back into the tax takers. And so we know a bunch of teams who are thinking of how do we make tools so that anybody can launch a token, and how do we make it super seamless, creator friendly, and then once you have launched it, how do you make it as easy to trade as possible on the go? So we're seeing a lot of very mobile first innovation happening in that space in a way that has been historically desktop dominated.
Interesting. And do you think that you'll be the only sort of L1 launching a mobile phone, or do you expect to see competition?
Solana Mobile is a subsidiary of Solana Labs, and we have a lot of love for the Solana ecosystem. Obviously, we're here at Breakpoint, and as you look into our dApp store, most of the teams who are there are Solana first. We are crypto friendly across the board. If teams have multi-chain futures and they have plans, we welcome that. We are in no way want to be censoring anybody's plans. I think as we look outside of the work that we're doing and more broadly at the mobile hardware landscape, certainly there are going to be teams who innovate, whether they're associated with other L1s or, again, taking a multi-chain approach. I think it could only make sense that teams are coming in and trying different product values, different price points, different markets. But again, all that does is it means there's more attention being brought to what do great mobile apps look like that are blockchain powered. And we need that tide to continue to rise. We need the best possible apps being built so that developers can either distribute through our store or any other store.
You mentioned dPin as being one of the most sort of exciting areas when we think about the intersection of the phone and the future applications. What other verticals in Solana really excite you? Maybe not just on a professional level, but personally.
I mean, I will always come back to payments as being the thing that gives me the most optimism in the long term. I think it's hard to imagine a world where crypto is successful and grows and grows and grows without it fundamentally changing how we think about payments. To tie it back a little bit professionally and think about mobile, I know personally I'm using my phone for transactions constantly. Like I probably pull my phone out to pay for things more often than I pull my wallet out to pay for things these days. Yep. Whether that's tapping to pay with my phone, sending funds on Venmo, paying bills online. There's still so much inefficiency there. The user experience has come a long way, certainly, but there's still inefficiency there. And I think obviously the blockchain can step in and tidy up a lot of those inefficiencies and make for a more future-proof payment network. And obviously, from a mobile perspective, if we can give users access to the same ease of payment, whether it is tap to pay or whether it is a peer-to-peer payment app, but it's all blockchain powered, I think that will absolutely take off.
I think so too. And talking about pulling your phone out to pay, I don't want to say Apple Pay, but I'm going to, I sort of have to.
Yeah.
People use it daily, and I think a vast majority of the people in this building at Breakpoint as well probably use Apple Pay because it's just the smoothest experience that is out there. Can we expect something similar from the Seeker or from future iterations where you can just pay directly at a POS?
So with Seed Vault Wallet on Seeker, we have set an extremely high bar for ourselves. We've said that transactions need to be signed as quickly and easily as possible. So from a user perspective, it feels like magic. And so that will be just the start. When we launch Seeker and it comes with Seed Vault Wallet, I think people will be surprised at how easy it can feel to sign crypto transactions and make payments. But I expect it to go further from there. We will be building the infrastructure, we'll be building the glue between users and dApps. And so I think as dApps continue to evolve and get more and more elegant in their user experience, it will feel even more magic to users to double tap the power button and send funds in an instant.
Let me ask you a slightly different question here then. What are the main challenges associated with getting not just a Web3 phone into people's hands, 140,000 pre-orders, but also having an active developer ecosystem where people are building new applications, solving new problems, such that you can sort of attract some of the people that only use an Apple phone or that only use an Android phone and get to a certain point where maybe 140,000 or more people are using the Seeker as their primary phone. What are the main challenges that you're facing in that sense?
So for developers, we first and foremost need to give them the tools that they need to build great products. And when we launched Saga, we also launched the Solana Mobile Stack, which is a collection of tools for developers to make mobile development much easier when you're integrating it with the Solana blockchain. Of course, then we need to also build distribution that works. And so we need to, in addition to building an audience that is wide and engaged, we need to make sure that we've got policies in place that support developers as they grow. And that's why having zero fees and it being crypto friendly is really important, because even if we have the world's biggest audience, it'll never be as big as whatever the most popular app store is out there, maybe someday. But for now, in lieu of that, we know we have a really active, really hardcore audience, and 140,000 is great. I expect that to continue to grow. Even if those users aren't thinking of Seeker as their primary device, what we're seeing is that as the apps continue to get better, as developers continue to see the opportunity of this very high value user group, and they start building better and better apps, people who use Seeker as their secondary device will start to do all of their Web3 activity on Seeker, even if it means they're carrying two phones.
As opposed to pulling out a laptop and maybe doing some operations
we heard, it's so funny, when we launched Saga, one of the things I heard time and time again was, oh my God, I don't need to bring my laptop to dinner anymore.
Right.
And we've come a long way since then, but there's still a ton of work to do.
Yeah. And the design itself of the device, now it's a pretty slick design. I, again, really like the original design as well. It was nice, heavy, sturdy. If we think really far into the future about maybe a third iteration, we're seeing, at least with, I think, Huawei and LG and companies like that are really focusing on this sort of foldability. Is that something you considered with the Seeker, or is that something you're considering with the third potential iteration?
Yeah, so it wasn't something that we necessarily considered for Seeker. I think we see Seeker as an opportunity to carry forward what we've done so far and nail it, just get it that much better. I think as we look beyond Seeker into additional devices in the future, there are a million exciting ways we can go, whether that is through foldables, whether that's through wearables, whether that's through additional price points of a similar product to what we've already built. As we learn more from the Seeker community about what they like, about what they don't like, about what they need, that will open doors for us as we think about what comes next.
If you had to speculate, we love speculation, right? If you had to speculate about what type of accessories, for example, for the Seeker or the third iteration of the phone might be most in demand, do you think it's going to be wearables? Do you think it's going to be branded earphones? What types of accessories can we look forward to seeing potentially?
Yeah, I think naturally technology seems to get smaller and smaller and smaller, right? As we look at the evolution of headphones getting smaller and wearables getting smaller, it feels like people are trying to find ways to interact digitally in as non-disruptive of a way as possible. So being able to quickly take care of something on my wrist, or quickly take care of something by double tapping and speaking to an assistant of some sort. I think, if I were to speculate, I think that group of accessories, things that are meant to be kind of wearable, more ambient computing devices, I would put my money there, especially as generative AI continues to get better and better and better. We've talked to a bunch of teams here who are thinking about what it means to leverage AI to make your blockchain experience easier. There are obviously tons of hardware teams thinking about the same from a hardware perspective. And so, again, I'd put my money on something that is wearable, something that's ambient to make your Web3 experience that much better.
Clear. Now, we can talk about speculation, obviously, in a tongue-in-cheek way, but when it comes down to the reality of it, what we're seeing here at Breakpoint in Singapore is that so many different teams are focusing on solving so many different problems for real people, whether it's hardware, whether it's software, whether it's innovating, whether it's making the user experience smoother. Yet, the minute you step outside of this ecosystem, the opinion, at least for some people, is that Solana is mainly focused on speculation. Right? And there is that sort of underlying tension there between people in here screaming out, saying, no, look at all the really cool things that are happening, including hardware and software. But then people outside are saying, yeah, but all you guys do is trade meme coins. So aside from building really cool hardware devices, how do we get over that?
As it relates to meme coins and the token trading activity that's been happening, it's where users are. And I think we, especially as we think about ourselves in Solana Mobile, giving developers tools to build for where users are right now is important. But what's equally important is whatever comes next. And I think, yes, we're building great hardware. That is going to be an entry point for some people into crypto. It won't be an entry point for everybody into crypto. And so I think as crypto continues to fall almost more into the background of what great products it enables, and instead we're focusing on what problems are solved and what the use cases are, I think we'll see more and more of what we saw when mobile phones took off in 2009, 2010, where a whole set of use cases that we never dreamed of, like opening up your phone and having a taxi at your door in 10 seconds, or having your groceries delivered. There's just things that you don't think about until you introduce new technologies and new ways of thinking. And so I think getting those consumer apps right is what's going to be what takes this ecosystem and any other ecosystem past maybe some of the speculative targets and tags that it gets right now.
Do you think it's a problem? I mean, we're all very biased here, right? And we see the work that's being done and we admire it and we appreciate it and we look forward to things like hardware releases. But I think for people that aren't as familiar with the work that goes on behind the scenes, maybe it's not so much of a problem that Solana gets associated with speculative activity. Is it a problem going forward, or are we naturally going to get to a certain point where the ecosystem's so mature and there's multiple hardware devices and dApps that are being used that people no longer have that association, in a negative way at least?
Yeah, I don't think it's a problem. I think there is a lot to be excited about outside of it. But I think for now, if it's what brings users in and if it's what gets people excited and gets them started, I think we have to be open and accepting of that. As we think about the devices we've built, we know that for some people, the fact that this is a rewards magnet is what is most important. But we also know that we can build experiences that will blow them away. And so I think the ecosystem at large needs to take that same mentality, which is respect users for who they are, respect them for what they're doing right now, but also have the confidence in yourself that you can build something that will open their eyes to something they didn't even know was possible.
What can we look forward to hearing from you guys on the hardware side of life over the next 12 months then?
So Seeker is going to be shipping in the middle of 2025. We will have a lot more to say about it in the new year. I keep calling this the second starting line. It's very far from the finish line. So we'll have more to share. We'll be very present across the Solana ecosystem. We'll be in person, meeting with teams, talking with them about what they're building, and gearing up for that launch so that when everybody gets their phones, it's got the best security, the best user experience, and a store that is full of one-of-a-kind dApps.
And if people haven't already, can they? Is it completely sold out, or?
It's not completely sold out. So far we've sold 140,000, but we're going to continue to take pre-orders. So if anybody doesn't yet have it, they should head to solanamobile.com. That's where they can buy Seeker. And for those that do have it, they've already gotten their Chapter 2 pre-order token, which is a taste of things to come.